from the sunflower fields in the Dordogne in France. Welcome to the GCN Show.
From the Silvio Pass in Italy, welcome to the GCN Show.
Climbing the Colorado, welcome to the GCN Show.
Welcome to the GCN Show. This week we discuss whether or not Nairo Quintana will become the first Colombian to win the Tour de France in 2017, and we wrap up all of the biggest races from the past week.
We've got an excellent competition for you, a boatload of your hacks and bodges, and of course, all of your regular favourite features.
And your non-favourites too, they're still there.
Your favourite presenters are here though.
Tech of the week now, and the first one is from a company called Relive, which you can find at relive.cc. So with this, all you've got to do is link your Strava account to Relive, and then once you've uploaded your ride, it will give you this quite cool movie animation fly-through of the ride that you did. And last year I've tried it and have had some pretty cool movies, albeit quite short ones.
Yeah, presumably if you do an epic ride, you'll get an epic movie.
Yeah.
Also on Tech of the Week, Simon was very lucky to get his hands on the brand new NV SES 4.5 AR disc wheels. Now, these are an absolutely stunning pair of wheels, and he's got more information in this clip from our unboxing video.
Part of the reason that this wheel performs so well aerodynamically is actually due to the fact that it is disc specific look. So what that means is that there is no brake track, and therefore the rim can be engineered purely for aerodynamics and not for braking. And in fact, if you look closely, you'll see that the rim does bulge out quite significantly from your tyre. And then, as a side benefit, in fact not even a side benefit, the whole thing can be made lighter because you don't have to take into account anything like heat buildup, which you would do from rim brakes. And so, it actually sheds 30 grams over the standard SES 4.5 rim brake rim. And that is despite the fact that this is so much wider. So, how much does the whole thing weigh with its sexy Chris King hub and 24 spokes? It weighs 720 grams.
You probably already know the best part about our unboxing videos, and it is that you can win everything that we unbox. So there is a link to the competition, and that's in the description below.
Can we remove this rule where we're not allowed to enter our own competitions? I really would like to set those MV wheels.
No.
Talking of Si though, he's over in the States again at the moment, seems to live over there these days. Si's got something for us over there.
He's up here.
We've come over to the Arc Wind Tunnel in Indianapolis, and with the help from the guys at Zip, we're putting some serious aerodynamics questions to the test. So we've been looking at descending positions, just how aerodynamic is the full Froome, we are going to know. And then finally, we've also been looking at body composition. So we know the perfect cyclist build, one of really muscly legs and really skinny arms, right? But how aerodynamic is it? And we also know that it's nicknamed the Tyrannosaurus Rex. So we were also testing just how aerodynamic a Tyrannosaurus Rex really is.
Caption competition now, and last week's photo was this one of Simon in a melon helmet.
The winner is, have another drum roll, Trigger Sot, who said, caption, "You are one in a melon."
Ah,
I thought that was quite good.
that's quite good.
Get in touch with us, Trigger, on Facebook with your address, and we shall send you out one of those GCN Camelback water bottles.
We certainly shall. This week we've got a very special photo.
What is it?
It's sent in by Jeff Woodward, and it is this one of Matt before some sort of event.
Shall I get them started?
Yeah, you should get them started.
Matt Stevens, prepared for anything, including verbal diarrhea as we go on Facebook Live.
We're going to get some crap comments below this one, aren't we?
Yeah, see what you did there. Leave your comments in the section below this video.
And you could win a GCN Camelback bottle.
Nairo Quintana's recent victory at the Vuelta A España was actually his first Grand Tour victory ahead of Chris Froome. Of course, his other one, the Giro, Chris Froome wasn't taking part. So, does that mean that he will now go on to the Tour de France next year and take the overall honours? Or will we see Team Sky and Chris Froome, their usual dominant selves, next July?
You know what, Dan? I think we can break this down into three key areas, the three T's. Number one, tactics. And arguably, I think Movistar have the edge here. They've got Alejandro Valverde, of course, the super domestique of all super domestiques, who's going to be able to advise and help Quintana out in difficult tactical situations. They've got the experience, because the foundation of the team goes right the way back to Miguel Indurain and his Grand Tour wins. But Sky, while they may appear tactically dominant on some stages, I think that's just because they have such a strong team that they're able to extinguish all of the other challenges.
That is true, and it brings us on to T number 2, which is the team. As you rightly point out, Lasty, Team Sky have got a roster almost pretty much full of potential Grand Tour victors. Wout Poels is the latest rider from that team to express an interest in leading Team Sky at a Grand Tour next year. And it's that strength in depth that really gives them their advantage, effectively, should I say, kind of quashing any other tactical games from other teams. So, for example, this year's Vuelta was pretty much won when Team Sky were obliterated around Chris Froome when he most needed them in Quintana and Alberto Contador were up the road. That you can't see happening at the Tour de France.
Brings us on to the third T, Dan. Neat little segue.
Right. It's going well.
Terrain. Whenever there's a time trial, it looks like Froome is just going to take time from Quintana. In fact, that kind of looks unavoidable. But where Quintana can benefit is where there are a series of really tricky and difficult mountain stages. And I actually can't see this happening at the Tour. I can't see the Tour going without a longest time trial where Froome is going to take time out of Quintana. And I can't see the Tour going with a series of mountain stages where Quintana stands a chance of taking a lot of time out of Froome. So for me, on balance, I actually think Quintana will struggle to win the Tour next year, but not just next year, in any year where Froome and Team Sky are at full strength.
Controversial. And that, of course, means that he will win next year, now you've predicted otherwise. I think one of the Yates twins might win.
Controversial again. What do you think, though? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments.
It is time now for hack/bodge of the week, and we shall get this week's kicked off with Samuel Bollen, who's made a belt out of an old Mavic tyre, and I will deem that a hack because I think he's done a very good job there.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good, Samuel. I'll give that a hack too. Next up, Ben Strain has said, amazing what a few cans of Plasti Dip, which I have to admit I don't know what that is, and some decals can do to an old tired race bike. And he's turned his Specialized into a
Specialised, but with different colours.
But with different colours, and it says S-Works on it, and it's not an S-Works.
You weren't sure about this, but I think it does look rather tidy and better than it did before.
I'm not. Yeah, it does. It is an improvement on what it was before, but I'm not convinced that that's a hack.
Okay, well this next one is a definite hack because he copied my video, did Andrew Chalky, and made his own chain whip. I was going to say chain key, but that's my other favourite.
Andy Dalton now, and this blew up when it went on our Facebook page. This is a definite hack, although I have to say it's a hack I can't do because I don't own one of these.
No, that's plainly obvious. And we know that Cy Richardson also uses his ironing board as a bike stand as well, hence the state of him most weeks. This actually came in from Stefan Harries, and he's found a motorbike which has been converted into a pedal bicycle, almost the opposite to most of the hacks from that regard that we see.
That's
each
flawless.
week.
That is an incredible hack. Now, Luis Lemus, who is Mexican road race champion,
cool,
watches GCN, he has sent this in. He says, if you can't make it to World Tour level, make the World Tour level come to you.
I love that. Check out that for a team car.
You can see
That's
Matt
really
driving around in one of those soon, aren't we?
Yeah, this next one came in from Ricardo, who spotted this in Panama, was it?
Yeah,
it's a music system on a trailer. And listen to this.
Craig Walduck sent this one in, who says, when your free hub fails, remove your front derailleur cable and tie your cassette to your wheel. Now, I know you've tried it with zip ties.
Yeah, I'm going to call this a hack because in the early days of GCN, when we were doing roadside maintenance videos, we tried the very same thing with loads of zip ties. But maybe it was a wattage bazooka I was putting off, but every time I broke all the zip ties. But maybe a metal front derailleur cable works a lot better. You
have been known to put out more than 300 watts.
Yeah,
sometimes. Occasionally. Finally, and we have saved the best till last. This is so good. Joseph Robinson at JRobinson63 on Twitter. Thank you for sending this in. You say you don't even know where to start. Dan, where should we start?
I don't know where to start.
It's time for the cycling shorts.
In finishing the Vuelta A España on Sunday, Adam Hansen continued his amazing success at completing all 3 Grand Tours every year. In fact, finishing in Madrid on Sunday meant he's finished 16 Grand Tours in a row, something which I find absolutely remarkable, not just from the endurance and physical aspect of it, but from the fact that over 336 days of racing, he hasn't had an injury or illness or crash bad enough to see him retire from a race. And apparently, he wants to do all 3 again next year, which, if my math serves me correctly, would take him up to 19.
You're like the human calculator, Dan.
Yep.
This one came through to us on Facebook via Matt Colley, and it's a story on The Guardian about the Active Travel Wales Act, which means that if you live in Wales and you complain or give feedback about a cycling route to your local politician, they now have to listen. So this is great because it means that the cyclists and the riders who know the local cycling network best are now able to give direct feedback to the people in power. And it doesn't mean that everything will happen or everything will be considered, but it is a pretty neat way of getting things done.
Yeah, definitely a step in the right direction. Team Sky hit the headlines during the Tour of Britain last week. They took 2 stage wins, of course, with Ian Stannard and Wout Poels, but unfortunately for them, they also hit the headlines with their team bus. Andy Rolfe caught them on camera, passing him quite dangerously closely on a very narrow road on their way to the stage start, with oncoming traffic as well. Was understandably quite upset, as the dialogue in the video does suggest.
Idiot! Idiot! Idiot!
Now the team and the driver and the team principal, Sir Dave Brailsford, were very quick to apologise for the incident, and apparently the team is now going to send all their drivers to a driver refreshment learning course at the end of this season.
One thing we don't often mention on the GCN show is the British domestic time trial scene, but one rider had a couple of achievements over the weekend that I think means we really should. So Marcin Białoblocki of Pro Continental Team 1 Pro Cycling broke 2 records this past weekend. Firstly, he broke the 10 mile or 16 kilometre record, where he rode it in 16 minutes 35 seconds.
Bonkers.
Which is an average speed of, was it 58 kilometres an hour?
Yeah,
or 36 miles an hour?
per hour average.
A speed that you kind of associate with going really quite fast downhill.
Yeah, I think we've reached those speeds recently on a downhill briefly, haven't we?
It was a 15% one.
Yeah. Anyway, the following day in South Wales, he broke the 25-mile competition record in a time of 44 minutes and 4 seconds. Much lower average speed, only 34 miles per hour average that time, which is just under 55 k's per hour. So once again, absolutely bonkers. Now the person whose record he beat on those occasions was none other than Alex Dowsett of Team Movistar, who was, of course, at the time competing at the Tour of Britain, so there was nothing he could do about it. However, there's no doubt he'll be looking for some float days in a not too distant future to take his records back.
Sir Bradley Wiggins has now confirmed that the Tour of Britain was his last professional road race. And it was something like a huge lap of honour for Wiggins. He didn't kind of appear to be particularly prominent in the racing, but he drew absolutely massive crowds wherever he went, including at the finish of stage 6, just around the corners of our offices, where Matt managed to catch up with him.
Well, none other than Sir Bradley of Wiggins. Don't mind me pointing out to you, Brad. No. How's it feel? Lap of honour. I mean, you've had a wonderful season. You've done what you've wanted to do. I mean, look at all the people, look at all the kids coming out to meet you. How's it feel?
It's good, yeah. I mean, it's better than the alternative, isn't it? No one coming out to see you at all. And I think it's just like, you know, everyone, most of the teams have been received like this, and it's just a sign of just how big cycling is at the moment. It's still booming. I mean, they said sort of 5-6 years ago, when's it going to stop? It seems to be getting bigger every year, especially this race. So good for the team. Good for everyone involved, isn't it? Good for you. You get a job out of it because you make a TV programme every week about it.
I know. It's nuts, isn't it? What about next year? What are you going to do? I know you've got your own range of bikes. Have you got any plans for next year?
I've got an internet-based cycling TV show, which I'm going to be doing with Chris Froome. GCN out the water.
Oh, that's, yeah. All right. Well, how about just last one?
Everyone's gone quiet.
I know, yeah. So it's a hushed silence across Bath. Before we finish, how about a welcome to the GCN show? How about everybody, at the same time as Brad does welcome to the GCN show? Would appreciate it. 1, 2, 3. Welcome to the GCN show! Cheers, guys. Cheers, Brad. What a ledge!
Wiggins will now continue to do a number of different track events, which will culminate in the Ghent 6 Day, a race very close to his heart, and that is where he will officially hang up his professional wheels for good. Now, finishing cycling shorts this week, we shall give you a few more transfer confirmations. Wilco Kelderman will go from Lotto NL Jumbo over to the Giant Alpecin squad. Guillaume van Kielsbroek, bad pronunciation I'm sure, will head over to Wanty Group Gobert with Gianni Meersman from Ethics Quickstep. And Matt Goss is retiring. Strange career it's been for him, hasn't it, lastly? Winner of Milan-San Remo just a few years ago and a number of other big races, and then kind of gone into obscurity in some ways.
Yeah, he was the youngest World Tour professional ever when he signed, wasn't he?
Was he?
Yeah.
Didn't know that. Peter Sagan and Greg Van Avermaet shared the spoils between them at the two Canadian one-day World Tour races last week, the Grand Prix of Quebec and Montreal. In the first of those, the Grand Prix Quebec, it looked like last year's winner, Rigoberto Urán of Cannondale-Drapac, might get back-to-back victories. He had a great late attack in the race, but agonisingly was caught in very close proximity to the line. Sagan getting the better of Van Avermaet on that occasion. 2 days later in Montreal, it was Rui Costa who looked like he might take a victory, but once again was caught inside of the line, and this time it was Van Avermaet who got the better of Sagan. I think we're going to see a lot of battles between those two riders over the few years coming forward now, or something like that.
Held it, nailed it. The Vuelta A España concluded in Madrid on Sunday with a flat stage for the sprinters, and it was Nairo Quintana who took the overall victory after a really impressive ride over the 3 weeks. Chris Froome did push him very close though. He cut his overall deficit down from 3.5 minutes before the final time trial down to just 1.5 minutes, but Quintana held Froome off after a very attacking ride on the penultimate stage. The penultimate stage was where Esteban Chaves moved into third overall though, with a really, really impressive long-range attack that saw him gain just enough time on Alberto Contador to take that final step on the podium. Actually, Quintana and Froome have us to thank for their rides. We didn't predict that either of them would win, and there they were, 1 and 2 on the podium. Our best shot at the prediction was Simon's prediction of Esteban Chaves, who came in third.
Actually, your prediction of Latour didn't do too badly in the end. He won the penultimate stage, didn't he? But yeah, an amazing Grand Tour really for the Orica Bike Exchange team, along with that third step on the podium. They also took 4 stage wins along the way, and some incredible tactics from that team as well. So Jens Kukelaer took one, Simon Yates took a stage, and Magnus Cort Nielsen of Denmark took 2 stages with that final stage in Madrid. And actually, it was also an incredible Grand Tour for people who'd never won a stage of a Grand Tour previously. So if my calculations are correct, 13 out of the 21 stages were won by someone who'd never previously won a stage of a Grand Tour, or 15 if you include the fact that Meersman and also Magnus Cort Nielsen took 2 stage wins each. Not sure that's ever happened in a Grand Tour before. Perhaps somebody with a little more knowledge of cycling than we might be able to let us know in the comment section down below.
I don't know, Dan, if I'm more impressed with the performance of those riders or with your stat attack.
Well, my stats, presumably.
Possibly. Your stats are very, very impressive there. Back here at the Tour of Britain, it was Steve Cummings who took a really popular overall win. He had got within reach of the lead on stage 2 after being in a long distance break with Etixx Quickstep's Julien Vermont, and he then held on and held off the climbers on stage 6's finish to Haytor to get into the leader's jersey before holding on to his lead again at the morning time trial of stage 7.
Yeah, very good victory for Steve Cummings there. Caleb Ewan showed that he is once again very ready for the World Championships in Qatar later on this year. He took the final stage around London, whilst the other 2 sprints of the 8-day race went to Andre Greipel and Dylan Groenewegen. And I'm actually really, really looking forward to the Worlds this year, at least the last few Ks anyway. That's going to be a battle royale.
Welcome to GCN's
Wattage
Bazooka!
I think I need to go to the doctors now. My ears have just popped.
This week's Pro Wattage Bazooka goes to Damien Howson of Orica Bike Exchange, and this is a very worthy prize for him because on stage 20 of this year's Vuelta, he was in the breakaway 10 minutes up the road from the peloton, but as soon as his teammate Esteban Chaves attacked the group of GC favourites behind, he sat up and waited for his Colombian teammate, and that was essential for their plan because he then drilled it on the front with Esteban Chaves on his wheel for a good 15-20 Ks, extended the gap to the group with Contador behind. Without him doing that, I don't think Chaves would have been on the podium of the Vuelta. So hats off, Damien Howson, a well-deserved Wattage Bazooka for you.
Get in touch, Damien, and we will send you a GCN bead-on.
Yeah, he'd love one of them, surely.
I'm sure he would. Anyway, this week's viewer Wattage Bazooka, we've got 2, Dan. We've got an honourable mention. We're not sure that equipment failure equals Wattage Bazooka,
no, but we do like the look of it.
But Slug Crinian, you've managed to send your cranks non-parallel, apparently sprinting to beat the lights, so maybe it's a combination of power and poor mechanics, who knows?
That is some serious power right there.
And next up, Dan, do you want to go for Pat MacArthur's Wattage Bazooka?
Yeah, this week's Wattage Bazooka and GCN Camelback water bottle goes to young Fraser, who's just 7 years of age, and check out his position on the bike. Yellow jersey already, fully aero on that road bike. He looks fantastic. And we'll get the bottle out to you. Just send us your address on Facebook if you can, and we'll get it out to you as soon as possible. Dom has chosen 2 tweets and 1 Instagram post for this week's Tweets of the Week, if we can still call it that. The first one comes from Joe Dombrowski, who is a man after my own heart. At the end of the Vuelta, he wrote, "If you bring beer to the Ride Argyle, should I say, at the Vuelta finish today, I will pick a lucky fan who gets my jersey with numbers pinned on."
Wonder if he gave his jersey away.
He did.
He did, oh.
There was picture evidence.
Very cool. Next up, Andre Greipel has tweeted this: support from every age group here in at Tour of Britain for the at Lotto Soudal boys. Hashtag fight for Stig.
Very cool indeed. This one from Instagram is from Lee Black 321. A lot of you will have seen this already. It's a picture of Bradley Wiggins at the top of the struggle on day 2 of this year's Tour of Britain, off his bike running a la Chris Froome.
I believe his bike, there were no issues with his bike.
No. He was just being funny.
Right then, comment of the week. And under the Team Dimension Data Truck Tour, Dan, that you did, got this really good one from Niels Heldens, who says, "This reminds me of my grandpa when he talks about his glory years."
All right.
I think presumably your Cervelo testing references.
Every week, comment of the week just seems to be people slagging me off. Okay. In fact, I'm worried about what's the next one is. Under Mikel Lander's Bolide time trial bike. Apparently I say Bolide wrong as well, but anyway.
But if you have a look here at the rear, it is a very unique design, which we understand comes from the aerospace industry, and in particular, the Boeing 707.
Simon Kling says, the 707 has rim brakes, question mark. Light Rowley put, he meant 787, which has chevron-toothed exhaust dust covers. Neither have rim brakes. Oh yes, that is exactly what I meant, but failed to say.
And then, I think this was also under the Bolide team bike, and it's Ben Strain who says, saw you at the Tour of Britain in Bath today, Simon. Your face is longer in real life. And that got 6 thumbs up. And then Dan, the next part?
Yeah, so I replied to that and put most of me is. Not quite sure what he was alluding to there, but his legs are mightily long in real life.
Sai actually went on to create 28 other accounts to give that a thumb up as well.
Yeah.
29 thumbs up in total. Good work, Sai. What time is it, Dan?
Is it time to let everyone know what's coming up on the channel this week?
Correct, it certainly is. On Wednesday, we've got 5 ways that you can cycle faster for free.
Don't be afraid to use the downhill to pick up a bit of momentum, and then if the climb is short enough, you can use this to carry you up the hill. It's actually quite an efficient way of riding faster on some shorter climbs. That said, I don't know quite how short this climb is because it's my first time riding in Madison, Wisconsin. Mike, I think it's longer.
On Thursday, we've got 7 elegant ways that you can stand or pose with your bike.
They are neither magnificent nor elegant, I just warn you.
I thought you were in the video.
I am, that's how I know.
And then on Friday, it's the rather less elegant, but still great, Ask GC Anything.
Saturday's pro bike is actually not a pro bike at all because it's my bike. This is the latest, should I say, of our presenter bikes. And on Sunday, we've got the latest of our unboxing videos. This time, we are unboxing a bike bag by Bike Hand. And of course, you will have your chance to get your hands on the bike bag, if that makes any sense. And then on Monday, we show you what you get when you spend more money on a bike helmet.
And on Tuesday...
Welcome to the GCN Show.
We shall finish the show, as ever, with Extreme Corner. Lastly, what have you got for us this week?
Well, I'd never heard of this one, Dan, but the Red Bull Holy Ride is a street race in Japan where competitors take on 320 steps in a race to the bottom. And yeah, it's pretty extreme and pretty funny.
That was nasty of him, going into that guy like that, around a corner.
It's kind of extreme though.
Yeah, I think we should send Matt out there next year to do that.
Give this video a thumbs up if you want to make that happen. Now, if you missed it last week, our GCN by Camelback bottles are now available in the store. And we've been working really closely with our friends at Camelback to make sure that they're the best bottles out there and that they look really cool too. We're going to ship them from the end of September, so get your order in now.
Yeah, why not add a cap to your order as well?
Why not? If you'd like to visit the shop, there is a link down in the description, or there's a link just over there. And you've made it this far, so you may as well check out a few other videos too. Click there to watch our NV unboxing video, and that is the SES 4.5 AR disc wheel set.
And for something different, I've hand-chosen one of my favourite videos, which you can find in the bottom corner. Those are rider diaries from January 2014 at the Tour Down Under with Jens Vogt amongst other riders featuring. Very cool video indeed.
It is, and if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, click here.